Hello Overclockers, I'm Jacob and we're here live at Epic 46 and I am joined with Jon, who is the managing director at EPIC.LAN. I guess that's your intro, so you don't get to do your... Yeah, I don't know, I just did it. But hey, so Jon is the managing director at Epic. For those that don't know, Overclockers, we've sponsored EPIC.LAN for 6 years now, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so even before my time being at Overclockers. So we want to sit down with Jon because there's a lot of you guys who might not even know what EPIC.LAN is, and we kind of just wanted to have a bit of a chat about the event, starting it up, and all that. So I'm going to hand over to you, Jon.
Thanks.
To give us, like, if someone said to you, what is EPIC.LAN?
It's a weekend away playing games with friends, and whether you play games more seriously from an esports competitive point of view, or you just want to come with a group of mates or even families, it's a 4-day holiday centered around playing games.
Yeah, I mean, that is basically it. Yep. So there's like 700-800 gamers here across the weekend. It's a LAN, so it's BYOC. Everyone's here. They brought their own PCs. Some of you guys might have seen the similar things at, like, you know, DreamHack have always been really famous for their LANs as well, but this is now like one of the biggest LANs in the UK.
Right now we are.
The biggest?
Who knows what changes? We'll probably come on to that. But yeah, at this current time, we are the biggest. We are, I'd say, roughly about 70% of the people out there are here to play in esports tournaments. We are one of the world's biggest open, I've got to get the phrasing right, world's biggest open BYOC LANs for Counter-Strike 2. We've equaled our record this weekend with 44 teams for CS2. And yeah, also running Valorant. StarCraft 2, we're keeping the UK StarCraft 2 scene alive. And our biggest single-player tournament this weekend is OSU. Yeah. We got like 50-something OSU players this weekend. That's way more than I was expecting,
yeah.
We had to up the prize cap for OSU because there were too many players. So.
Mad. Yeah, so OSU was kind of like a more recent version. Like the other three games are kind of like, they've been here for a long time, right?
Staples of the event.
Yeah.
But yeah, OSU it was just a community that came to scout out the event. Terry, who looks after the ops side, and I were just in the breakfast queue talking to these guys who played OSU, and they were like, yeah, we just come to have a nosy. We go to another event that no longer exists. And we were like, yeah, bring your friends. And they posted on the forums, like the OSU forums, because they still use traditional forums. Yeah. And yeah, now we're at 50-something players here. And to me, that was always a game that I saw people use it. We're going way off topic, by the way. Forget your cue cards.
We're going, I'm taking over now.
Yeah, I always saw OSU as a game that people play to warm up for other FPS games. I've always seen like CS players like using that as a warm up. I never realised there was a competitive scene for it, and we've now got one of the UK's biggest tournaments. Seeing OSU on a massive LED out there is pretty cool. So.
The crowd really gets into it as well. Yeah. Like the grand final is actually really cool to watch.
It was first time we watched it on the big screen. We were looking at the two players side by side with our tech manager. He's like, why are we showing the same thing, like side by side? It's not. It's two different players. It's so close. It's like milliseconds between them. The skill level's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely one of those, I didn't know about it until it came. Very cool and definitely worth checking out. But so you say you've got the esports side, but there's the community, like the casual side as well.
Yeah, that was our roots. That's where we started. It is people who just want to play games with friends, and we've got groups of people here who didn't know each other before and now are friends inside the event, outside the event. For example, the Council of Memes. They're a group of people who, there's a few that like worked together in the past, but ultimately that group have come together through EPIC.LAN, and now they attend other events and they go on theme park trips together and so on. We've got entire families who turn up, like bringing their kids in it, and like literally the whole family is a weekend away playing games. People from all backgrounds. I think everyone assumes that everyone who attends these events are people who work in IT or students, like massive range of industries people work in. Like I know there are multiple trained, qualified doctors out there who've got super stressful jobs in the day, and this is their release. Don't have to think about work for 4 days. We're just here in a dark room. It's a cheesy phrase. Do you remember Elsie?
Yeah.
So Elsie used to say, when he described EPIC.LAN, he said it's the most fun you can have in a dark room with your clothes on. But that sums it up, right?
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. It's I've kind of like said this to a few people, but the thing about is whenever we bring people externally that have never been, for whether it's for stage content or to do stuff with us on the stand. So they always say, I'm going to come back with my mates and we're just going to play for a weekend, because so many of us, especially the ones of us that work in the industry, we're guilty of not playing games because we do it all day. We don't want to go home.
Last thing you want to do.
Yeah, and so there's like Coursera here to just come and play games. Like some of the team have come down just to play games, right?
Mr. Greggles last night. So our opening ceremony last night, we brought Mr. Greggles down to kick off the event, which is something we started doing fairly recently. And after, he said to me that I just want to bring my PC next time. He can't because it's huge and about 10 grand's worth of PC. But he's like, I just want to bring my PC, bring some friends, and I would really enjoy this. And I asked him, as somebody who attended our events for the first time, he's obviously been to other events. He opened at Insomnia in the past. I was like, what is your first impression of someone who's just walked in through the door? And he was, say, like, chilled, community vibes. I don't know if you're probably not picking that up on the microphone, but there's some weird noises coming from out there.
Welcome to
now.
EPIC.LAN.
I think somebody's... yeah, okay. I know who it is.
That's
cool. I'm not surprised. That's who we were just talking about.
Wild.
Where was I? Anyway, Greggles loved the vibe, and that's the thing. It's not the atmosphere people would expect when they turn up. They expect a quiet, dark room with people not speaking to each other. It's an extremely social experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was probably here for, I want to say, maybe half an hour after the lights going down, and before you get the first like FU screamed from one team to another, get the woos and all that. I don't know if that needs to be bleeped. Sorry, guys, but that's just the way Epic is.
You'll pick it up on the microphone.
Yeah, that's just the way it is. It's definitely. I think so. For context, I used to work at EPIC.LAN before being Overclockers. So my first experience was working it, not knowing anything about Epic, because I came into Epic from a completely different industry. And the first time you walk into the conference center where we are in Kettering, and all is empty. It's just, this is it's like there's volleyball here, boxing. Yeah, it is a sports hall. We call it a sports hall of esports for a reason, right? But it's a blank canvas, and then what it gets turned into, and I don't know, again, maybe if in the editing we can put like a balcony shot of what it looks like.
Well, if we speak to Sam B. Dubs, he time-lapsed the build, so he may be able to get you that footage, so we can maybe throw that in there. And
there we go. Power
together.
Of editing that I commit to without checking with the editors first. But you guys can see what I mean, this blank slate and what it turns into. It's kind of mad. Like, you don't think it will look like it does. But obviously, like, it's not always looked like this, right? It's not always been a sports hall full. Way back in the day, when Baby John started his first LAN, long time ago now. Sorry, he is older than he looks. So yeah, I know. I'm sorry. But yeah, I guess we've spoke about this, right? But how did you go from just playing games, maybe attending other LANs, to thinking, this is what I want to do. I want to run a LAN.
So again, I'll quite openly talk other LANs. So I went to I8. So back at Newbury Racecourse Insomnia, and really enjoyed it. And I continued to attend Insomnia for quite a while after. But on the way back, I was shattered. Completely irresponsibly, driving really tired, cars like swerving everywhere, slapping yourself to try and keep yourself away. Like, why am I driving all the way to Newbury to go to LAN? There is nothing near me. So I just decided to recreate something way smaller, and it was in Stoke. So it's, obviously I've lived in Stoke for all 43 years of my life, and obviously your home as well as Overclockers. So I went to Bagnall Village Hall in Stoke. I tried to phone and speak to about 100 venues. Back then, gaming was bad. Like, we hate gaming. Gaming's evil. And nobody wanted us, especially this concept of having a venue overnight where we didn't close. People at that point bringing their own drink as well. And we just found a village hall that probably needed the money a little bit. And they were like, actually, it sounds really cool. And I'd done a lot of sort of event management background anyway, so they trusted our approach and preparation, and give it a go. So we were there for a while. Our first event sold out. Back then, we probably put way more people in that hall than we would these days. Health and safety's a thing, right? And it was a sea of about 50 CRT monitors and whatever PCs were then. I, at that time, built all the servers myself, set up the network myself. There were only 4 of us that put it all on. And it just grew organically from there. It was never intended to be a job. I spent my student loan because I stayed at home for uni, so I used my student loan to buy all the servers and network kit. Good investment, I guess. And it just kept growing. And then we had to just keep moving. We then went to All Sager, so we stayed local. Next venue was like a student union bar, which is pretty cool for a LAN venue. Then we went to Uttoxeter Racecourse. We were there for quite a while. Then we outgrew that, and then we came here, I think, EPIC.LAN. And we've been here since, and we just keep growing in this space. And then, I don't even know, 7 or 8 years ago, I was given the opportunity to leave my previous job, I think is the legal way of phrasing it.
It's very political.
And I didn't know what to do, because I didn't work in this industry. I worked in sport and leisure, in marketing, and I was a bit lost, because I've been in that industry for 18 years, and everyone around me, EPIC was obviously well known then as a hobby. Everyone around me was like, there's a really obvious answer here, just make it your job. And now there are 8 of us working permanently within the business. We don't just put the events on, these are 3 times a year, but we also have our mini events. So we do little tabletop events, we do what we call a luxury event, where we hire out a hotel and everyone's got rooms on site. And then 2011, I want to say, we were approached by EGX. And they said, we want to run an activation at our event. We don't know how to do that. The publisher of the game doesn't want to be there. Can you come and run a tournament for a game that only came out 2 weeks ago? And I was like, yeah, sure, we'll do that. And that was the moment that sparked our whole B2B agency side of things as well. So when we're not here, we're running things for everyone else's events as well. So we came straight from EGX last weekend to here. We were running 150 players, 150 playable stations at EGX across their stage and LAN zone. So it's definitely a hobby that got out of hand, but is now, I get to do it every day of the week, and I still enjoy it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the good thing. We've had a conversation with other people about that, like when your hobby and your job are the same thing, like having that burnout and creative fatigue and stuff. And we even alluded earlier to going home and playing games after working on games all day can be really tough.
I don't game as much as I used to, and it makes some of my colleagues like Dan really sad, because you never come on and play games with us anymore. Like, we used to play Apex every night, and I just don't want to. And when I do, so I do still game. When I do, it tends to be more like single player builder type games where I just don't have to speak to people. It's that's the genre I'm sort of into. Or I had an embarrassing Final Fantasy run last year. I got hardcore addicted to Final Fantasy 14, but even though it's an MMO, I didn't have to speak to other people, and I was just like fully invested in the storyline. It was like watching a film. I'm not a multiplayer gamer anymore, or it's not the thing I want to do particularly at the moment. I kind of feel the same. Like, for my sins, I still play League of Legends with my friends, but even now, I don't play like ranked and anything anymore. We just play for fun. I play way more single player games at the minute. That burnout is real, like, and you can have too much of a good thing. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. But you spoke about like the agency side of EPIC.LAN, and maybe some of our audience aren't aware, like the UK events landscape isn't what it once was.
Nope.
So you've kind of got 2 things there, right? You're becoming one of the only events that offers what you offer, but you also have an agency side that relies on those other events to kind of keep things like afloat, right? So how are you navigating what we're seeing at the minute in the UK?
I mean, the last 2 years for us have still been the busiest ever, thankfully. It's the nature of the work that's changed. Thank you. This year was our biggest presence at EGX, EGX/MCM. We had a crew of 28 people at that event, so 150 playable machines, 6 racing rigs, consoles. We had like a farming simulator rig and drift rig set up. So our presence there has grown. We are hopefully doing the same or something similar at MCM Birmingham in a few weeks' time. And we've gained some other new clients. The esports side of things picked up pretty well for us. So one of the biggest clients we have is Ubisoft, and we run their tier 2 circuit, so Rainbow Rumble. So that's grown for us. I'm trying to think what else. We've got a software development side of things. So we have a tournament platform that powers things like British Esports Championships, NSE, various other clients that sit on our tournament platform. But we've had to diversify a little bit as well. So I'm going straight from here to Leeds next week to run a job for the NHS. So we hire out PCs because we've got a gaming stock of PCs, really good quality monitors, and they get used for X-ray exams. And that's a sort of hangover from COVID, but that client's continued. So we've just had to look in lots of other directions. And the broadcast side of what we do, streaming hasn't gone anywhere, thankfully. So we do a lot for Twitch directly as a client. So we do a lot of Twitch's Twitch's custom advertising campaigns. We run for those as well. So it's very different. Pre-COVID, if we're still allowed to say the C word, I'd say our business was 95% events physically. We've just had to look at that and make sure we're not reliant on one particular line of work anymore.
I think so again, like for our audience of seeing, we work with Endpoint, and we have done for a very long time, a really similar time frame. So I think we've worked with you guys, and they've kind of done that same. They've diversified in so many different ways, and the brands that are surviving are the ones that can be resilient in that sense and have those different facets.
And a lot of their projects, or some of their projects, are not even gaming related. They've had to look completely outside the box. And we've got Pete here as well.
So Pete is here.
Pete's obviously one of the co-owners of Endpoint with Adam, and he's decided to take a weekend out to come and play games. Like, he's playing in the tournament, not taking it particularly seriously, but again, it's that it's coming with friends to play games. Like, that's exactly why he's here. He knows he's not going to win, but he's obviously in the serious end of esports, running the team competitively, and he just wants a weekend where he perhaps reminds himself that it doesn't always have to be that super serious competitive side.
Yeah, it's nice seeing like people having that break here, and like so many industry friends seem to be coming more and more.
Lux has done that.
Absolutely.
There's so many industry groups buy tickets for Lux now because it's smaller than this as well. 150 people. It's in a hotel because we're all far too old for sleeping on the floor in a tent these days, and we're just seeing more and more industry types buying up those tickets and just wanting those few days away.
Yeah,
it's nice to see.
Lux is still one of my favorite events I did with Epic. Definitely.
Yeah.
Getting a bed at the end of the night is a win. Absolutely, it's a win. I mean, we do that now, but anyway.
I don't. I still sleep in a camp bed, like just up there.
Yeah. So for people there are people who still sleep on site. So back in the day, people would sleep like under their desks, and it was. I mean, this is pre me, right? But it was a horror show basically. Now it's a little bit more organised with like camping rooms and stuff.
It just keeps it affordable. So we are, despite being one of the biggest LANs, we're also one of the cheapest at that sort of scale, and we still want to offer those. Like, it's not just the cost of buying a ticket. You've got to get here. You've got to sleep somewhere. You've got to eat here. So we've really fought hard to keep cheap sleeping options, whether it's outside with a tent or bring an airbed. But we've now had to do it in a safer way than just sticking it under your desk. We stay on site because it's a 24-hour event, so I can't be at a hotel 2 or 3 miles away because we might have to evacuate. We've put on things like a shuttle bus service to try and save people money on taxis. We fight really hard with the caterers to keep the food affordable for the weekend. And I think that's one of the reasons people do keep coming back to our event.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually, where other events become, as much as it would be to go on holiday for 2 weeks, this feels like, you know, it is a weekend away, but you can still not sell your kidney for it, at least. Although some people do come and spend a kidney on
but that's their choice.
Stuff. Yeah, definitely. I think we've been slightly, not doom and gloom really, but the UK landscape isn't what it was, what we've said. We've seen some events come and go, and then like shadows of the former self with other ones. But one thing that I'm excited about is DreamHack.
Yeah.
So again, DreamHack got announced for March.
Yep.
March next year. And it's really exciting to see the excitement from everyone. I think they're like initial tickets, they're like early bird sold out. The Call of Duty major got announced, sold out in 2 days. They've got ESL Birmingham alongside as well.
Yep.
So for you, just seeing stuff like that, is that's like kind of reignites a fire? It like feels like there's happiness and positivity.
Yeah, I think it needs it, and everyone was messaging us straight away, going, "Oh, what does this do? What does this do to you? What's the impact on Epic?" And it's actually not negatively in that there's no LAN there. So we're not competing on that scale, and we're also not a top-tier esports event, and we're not an expo.
Yeah.
So they're very separate, distinct events. I think it's quite cool. Naturally, we've reached out and gone, hey, can we help with anything? Yeah, I think it's needed to re-inject a little bit of faith, both in the community, with brands, show the UK as a destination. The UK is a really challenging place to put on events, and a lot of that, we haven't got time to go into the detail of why that is, but the sort of cost, legislative issues, transport issues, impact of Brexit, sometimes make the UK not appealing. Then at the same time, you look at the esports events the UK has had in the past few years. Even Blast was down in London again a couple of months ago. We've had Worlds here. We've had Rocket League majors here. We've had nearly all of ALGS one year was the international finals were in London and Birmingham, like 3 events out of the year. So the UK is doing really well. Fighting games are doing strong in the UK as well. Red Bull are constantly invested. Red Bull, it has been announced, hasn't it? Londinium, yes, it has. It's publicly out there.
I was going to say, I was like...
Yeah. So, I don't know how much you want me to mention brands. Cut it if you want to. But Red Bull is bringing an Age of Empires 2 event to the Royal Albert Hall next year.
Oh, I have seen. Yeah.
Tickets are available. So I'm not breaking any NDAs. So yeah, I think that positivity's there, but it needs big names like DreamHack. I think it's sad to see some of the domestic UK events struggling a little bit, and I don't know whether the international events coming will hurt those, or whether it will just generally, rising tides and all of that. We shall see, but I'm excited. I'll get myself down to DreamHack. I don't go to many other events when I'm not working them, because again, it's that fatigue. But DreamHack in the UK, so I went to DreamHack winter in Jönköping multiple times, both working there and as an attendee. Shipped my PC over to Sweden, and it was in the day. It was one of the coolest lands I went to, and that was in the 10,000 people sort of era. So yeah, I'm excited by DreamHack.
Yeah,
it's a long-winded way of saying that.
It is, but we did DreamHack together a few years ago, and it's probably my favorite event I've worked, I would say.
Opening ceremony at DreamHack is amazing.
It was insane. Yeah, it's like a full-on EDM show. They have shows for the days where they just throw merch out in big blow-up inflatable balls and stuff. They have the dream tokens. It's a really cool event, so I'm definitely excited. And that positivity is obviously nice to hear, but for the future of Epic, obviously it's growing more and more within this venue, within Kettering, but what is kind of the next steps for you guys?
I honestly don't know. As we've just hinted, for us and every other event, the cost of UK events is ridiculous. You'll have seen this when you've been exhibited at other events. Things like power and internet costs are mad. The UK still has a charging model for things like internet connection for early days of dial-up. For a single event and some of the larger conference venues, you could put an entire connection in for a year for what they charge you for a weekend, and it's making things really unaffordable. We've got a really strong relationship with the venue here. Like I say, we've been here since Epic 10. They're reasonable with pricing. They don't throw all of those extras at us, but they also have running costs as well. They're investing in the venue, which is great to see. I think everybody knows that we lost this venue for a little while when they were going to shut it down. It's here for the long term. We can continue to grow into this venue. So I'm okay from a venue point of view, but everything else is going up. Transport costs, fuel costs, cost of health and safety. As the event gets bigger, we have to start doing things very differently, and cost of contractors, installing the power, rigging and AV into this is our biggest costs after the venue now. Security, we're having to constantly increase our security requirements. We all have to consider the impact of terrorism, for example, which seems silly for an event this sort of size, but we have to assess that going forwards. So it's a challenge. I'm very stubborn, so I've been doing this for 23 years and I've not let it die. Even through COVID, we wouldn't let the event stop. We carried on doing the online events and we were determined to be back, so I won't let it die. It might have to change. We might have to look at whether some things are more cost effective, how we can scale up and down depending on how the numbers go. But we're sitting here at our biggest ever event. We have sold more tickets for this event than anyone before. and not many events can say that they're still growing in that way. So
Yeah.
I didn't even answer your question. I honestly don't know, but we will be stubborn and we will continue to be here.
I think it's an answer in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting for anyone watching who likes the idea of Epic. Definitely check it out. We'll get a link to Epic like tickets and the schedule for next year down below as well. But I want to end off with some real like quick fire fun questions.
Okay. Are they actually going to be fun?
Okay. Well, I want to end with some questions that I think are fun. John might not. Favorite game of all time?
I think my most hours are in RimWorld.
I still don't even know what this is, and I've known you playing that for a long time. And I still don't know what it is.
It's a space-based colony storyline simulator. Very similar artwork style to sort of Prison Architect, but it's basically a story story-driven. I can't describe it. Like, yeah, the idea is that you're playing your own story in a sort of sim colony builder style. I've sunk thousands of hours into that.
Yeah, I do feel like I see you on it a lot on Discord. Well, maybe not so much recently when I know how busy you are, but like in the past,
Yep.
I've known that to be your game. So yeah, that makes sense. What is your most anticipated upcoming game?
Honestly, don't have one.
Okay.
Like right now, I'm not enthused about anything coming up. Going back to the point before about gaming fatigue, I know that's a rubbish answer, and I should be more aware and intrigued in what's coming up. I'm more the sort of person who'll go around what expos are left, especially look at things like the smaller indie zones and find, again, like RimWorld, that sort of style game, and I'll get excited about something by playing it there and then. I don't get excited by big AAA games anymore.
Okay, that's fair enough. I put favorite game soundtrack, but I know you very well, and you are also a film, TV, and musical soundtrack person. So I'm going to broadly say favorite soundtrack.
I don't know. I wish you should have given me a heads up.
I didn't want to give you a heads up. That was the point.
I will go back to the Final Fantasy 14 answer from earlier. Brilliant soundtrack. Still want to get it on vinyl as well. But that is an absolute listen. Each expansion's got a very different style, depending on the theme of that expansion as well. So yeah, I'll go with Final Fantasy 14 soundtrack.
That's a good answer.
Straight answer for that.
I thought you'd go with Hamilton. When I broadened it up.
I've been in that. I've had my Hamilton phase again. I saw it again this year when I was up in Sunderland. I go through a phase of it and then I move on again. I'm currently moved on.
Okay.
But then I'll see it again. I'll be like,
yeah, straight back. Yeah, okay. All right. That does sort of round us out here. Thanks for taking the time. I hope everyone enjoyed. As I say, check out EPIC.LAN in the link below. And then make sure you check out all our other podcasts as well. We've got some more from the event and some of our older episodes as well. There'll be a link for that down below as well. But thanks for watching, and we'll catch you soon.